Yo, what's up? What's up?
What's up, guys?
Hit my chair.
What were you doing?
Welcome to Coffee and Convo. Jason and Esther
Yes.
here. And as you saw from the beginning,
Yeah.
we are going to talk about the espresso machine and marriage and some of that fun stuff.
Yes.
But
What
first
does
of
that
all-
have to do with marriage?
It's Friday fun day.
You are going to find out.
Yes.
Yes.
Cheers.
Friday fun day.
So I had to drink some espresso
We're so different.
because, look at that phone.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, so thank you for joining us.
I'm actually drinking Douwe Egberts espresso coffee that my parents sent from Holland. Coffee beans,
Yeah.
freshly ground. Freshly ground and then brewed and then in my cup.
So
it is delicious.
Cheers to you guys as well.
Cheers.
If you
Yes.
have some
yes.
coffee or
Happy
tea.
Friday. Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday. So,
Yes.
Hey.
So what, babe?
we're jumping into
Espresso
this.
We got a story. We got a story. Listen, this is going somewhere and
So
we're
of
letting
course,
you into our lives.
because we're different, obviously, and we
Super
talk about
different.
that a lot. And so you're like, okay, why are we talking espresso machine? Well, that's a fun story. And then
Fun story.
tying that into marriage is
Yes.
it's like, okay, well, the question you asked the other day, does marriage actually have to be that difficult? Or
Right. We were talking about it, yeah.
yeah,
Because most people, when it comes to talking about marriage, the first thing they'll say is that it's just really hard, hard work. I do agree with that, but it always has that negative undertone of like, there's some good, but there's just a lot of, not bad, not fighting and stuff necessarily, but just like, it's just so hard, and it's like,
so first of all, we agree that marriage takes work, right? It doesn't happen
Absolutely,
automatically.
100%.
And that's where it comes from. I think,
100%.
that love is easy, blah, blah, blah. And then we find out that those feelings and jitters, go away over the course of life.
it changes.
Or changes.
Yes,
You
it
have to
changes.
keep that alive.
Right, absolutely.
Or else it goes. And we don't want to diminish anyone else's circumstance. Because
No.
we know that there are pressure and stresses between,
for sure.
living situations, finances, work, kids. That all adds pressure. And so we don't want to belittle your situation.
No,
But we want to maybe encourage and say, hey, this is some things we found
But there's so
that-
much good in it,
that has made a difference for us.
Yes.
So anyway,
And
but
I
the fun
mean,
stuff
we've been
first.
married for 16 years.
Right.
So,
The fun stuff first.
yes,
Right.
okay.
Let's
Go there.
So
babe.
the espresso machine, right? We talk about different personalities. So our last anniversary,
Yeah,
well for a
last-
while,
last year.
Esther was like, "Hey, I want another." We
I
already.
said I want an espresso machine. I want an espresso machine.
Well, you just wanted another coffee maker, first of all. That's how it started.
Okay, we have a Ninja.
Because we have a Ninja, we have a Keurig.
Yeah, we have a Keurig.
So
yeah.
first of all, we had a
You
Keurig.
would have to.
She bought another Keurig because we needed something different.
That's true. A
We got
different
rid of our
color
other-
because we had like this.
No, it
color.
wasn't color. It was.
Yeah. Also,
It wasn't just color, but
it was an upgraded one, but
it was just
nice
a different
gray
model.
color. I'm all about the looks.
Yeah, obviously. We have a Ninja, which is great to brew coffee with. Then she was like, "Hey, starting to look around. There should be something else we should have." And I kept pumping the brakes. I was like, "Hold up," because I'm a numbers guy. Personality wise, I'm a numbers guy. You guys probably know that already.
Yeah.
But if you don't,
The real thing we're gonna be talking about is like, money and I mean not necessarily, but like I'm
Just
a
a-
spender,
just a-
he's a saver. So or investor. But you
Yeah.
see money as a
Tool,
resource,
as a
as
resource,
a tool.
yes.
I see money as freedom to do whatever I want to do with my people and
So
live life.
let me
fully,
ask you:
you know?
Do you have any of those conflicts or different points of view in your relationship?
Let us know.
Where it's like, you know, freedom, don't limit me, we can go and do whatever. And the other one's like, whoa, you're spending what we're building for the future here.
Yeah.
Right? And you have this dilemma or different, you know, this push and pull on what you're doing.
Very much.
But anyway, so for a while we were talking about something else, and I'm like, why would I want to, all those pods and all the equipment, they cost more.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't even, I knew an espresso thing is not cheap. I knew that. I didn't even think about the pods. Like, who cares about that? Once you have the machine, you drink the coffee, right? So it's like, I don't do any research. I have no idea what they cost. I know what the machine costs. And, you know, we're gifting each other an anniversary gift. And, you know, we both want the same thing. We both enjoy coffee. So why not, you know?
So leading up to the whole thing, I'm calculating, okay, this is going to cost more per cup every day. We're already drinking good coffee. We make the pot. Now we have to spend extra on the espresso machine. And, you know, we're going to have to spend more per cup every day. So anyway, we decide it's our anniversary. This is one thing we're going, part of what we want to do for each other. Let's buy this. But then the question is, how do we work with the pods? Because I'm not into spending, you know, if we each drink 2 cups a day and you're 50 cents to $1 per cup at home, you're now increasing your coffee budget. Boom.
So, you know, he got the thing, and we're like, I'm excited.
Oh, no.
What?
No.
Right?
No, we had this discussion before we bought it. Because we were like, if we can't come to a common ground where we both feel good.
That is true.
So I was like,
that is true before you ordered it.
We don't want to overspend on pods. And she was like, I don't want to be limited in my coffee expression. I don't want to have to wake up every day and be like, well, is Jason going to think I'm drinking too many, espressos today?
I don't mind. I understand his talents and giftings, and, you know, I have learned to appreciate that. I still don't always think like that. Vice versa, he doesn't think like me. So, but I knew how it was going to go. So all of a sudden, this Nespresso machine is not enjoyable for me at all. It's like, I just want to, you know.
If you would come in my frame of mind, it would not be enjoyable because you'd be thinking about, you know, can I drink this? If I would go in your frame of mind, I'm going to be thinking about, well, we are, you know, drinking a ton of these, and this is money we could be doing something else with, right? That's my approach. Mm-hmm. And so we had to come up with a middle ground. So what did we decide then? How did we decide? What we decided was,
but then
instead
it didn't go easy. There was a little bit of a like. We had a little.
We almost did not. We almost did not.
It
wasn't a blow up.
Not a blow up. I mean, not a.
You exaggerate, but of course you're not.
An experienced person,
You're
so
adventure.
that was an experience for me. I mean, we did not blow up as in we yelled at each other and stuff, but
no, we had to have a discussion.
It was a.
You didn't even remember the story, and suddenly.
Okay.
Before we got on, she's like, I don't even remember how this thing went. Now suddenly she's like, there was a whole experience.
I remember that we had a very, very good but hard conversation together. That's what I remember. And I remember the Nespresso machine led us into that. But I didn't remember the initial hiccup. Like, what was it that... But that was the thing. Like,
that was the thing.
Then I didn't feel, you know, free to drink however many cups because then he was like, okay, so what we decided was...
So we had to find some middle ground. And this is the thing.
Middle ground.
In marriage, in your relationships,
yeah.
you have different personalities. Most times that is why you're together, because the other person is showing you a different part of life that you don't experience.
Opposite attract, right?
But you get attracted to each other, but then once you get married, then it's like, well, this person's annoying because they want to drink annoying. Hear me out, because they want to drink all the coffee and drink away anything we are building for the future, right? That's how it feels. That's how it can feel. Or this person wants to limit me so much I can't enjoy my life, and there's no fun in life, right? So and we want to change each other, and we try to force the other person to see our point of view, or to become our point of view.
Yeah.
It's healthy to see our points of view, right? That's understanding each other. But to become our point of view is where, if I try to make Esther become my point of view, she's always suddenly stepping away from her strength and her natural gifting and trying to analyze everything and figure out numbers, which is not who she is. No. For me, on the flip side, I'm trying to move away from my strength and just be like, well, nothing matters. Let's just free for all. Just take action, enjoy, boom, which isn't my spot either. So it's appreciating one another, understanding each other is where you find the middle ground, and then saying, hey, how can we work out this together, right? Yeah. And so we came up with a thing is every so often we'll purchase a large batch of pods, and we'll give each other the freedom of, and it's a practical step. You can laugh if you want, but
That's all right. I laughed. But it's working. It's for us. Doesn't mean it works for you.
But this is just a practical way to manage the difference. Is we said, okay, if this many pods for each of us to drink how we want. So we'll set a budget that we want to spend in a certain amount of time on these extra pods. We'll purchase the case of pods. You have X amount, I have X amount. We have some that we can give to friends and guests if they come over or whatever. But then you have the freedom to drink as many as you want until you're out, and we wait until the next time we're resetting the budget and going forward, right?
So that was another thing too, though, because, when we talk about money and budget and, you allocate different amounts, different ways. And then it's like, he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to I have some birthday money and I am going to buy my own pods so that I can have this really good quality coffee, And I'm like, are you crazy? I'm not going to spend my birthday money, my personal spending money that I can do whatever I want with to spend on my coffee. Now, if I go to Starbucks or a special coffee place, I would do that. But he saw it like that. I did not see it. I saw it like my normal coffee maker. I just got an upgraded one. He saw it like it's a specialty coffee that I'm now going to spend my money on. So it's like going out to a coffee shop and getting a nice drink for $5-6,
So thank you for, I put it on my Christmas list, and I got some pods for Christmas, so thank you.
So, but you see how we're different, because I was like, no, it's still, to me, it's like, I'm just drinking coffee in my home. It's nothing special about it. It's just a good coffee. So I don't want to spend that money on that. I want to spend that money on other things.
Right. And so I went from, hey, instead of going and spending, $3, $4, $5 on an espresso at the coffee shop, I can make a quality espresso at home for 60 cents. So I can drink, 10 times more of those with my treat money that I set aside to, for me, I always am looking for quality and practical uses for things. So I don't like to just go spend money on whatever. So I set aside some treat money or birthday money or whatever. I'm like, okay, if I get something for my birthday, I want to allocate it to things that I feel like are just kind of a waste. Even though it's good, I don't really live on experiences. So I'm like, I eat nasty oatmeal every morning, every Sunday before I go play soccer, because I don't like oatmeal. But it's a good thing to hold you over, because I have to eat 4 hours in advance to play soccer. I hate it, but I'll shove it down because it makes sense.
That is the thing. That is the thing. So did we change? We did not change. He is still all of that, and I'm still all of that. So who drinks more pods? Who has more pods? This.
I do.
Because he bought from his own money. I still don't spend my money. Just our together money we spend, and I, drink my amount. So anyway, so we didn't change, even with that, like food. We can talk about that another time because we have a whole lot of differences over there too.
We do.
But like we didn't necessarily change. We're still there, but we found like a middle ground that works for us. But we did have to talk about not necessarily the Nespresso thing, but the way it made me feel, the way it made him feel.
Right.
And that wasn't always that wasn't a fun conversation because he wanted to still do that for me, but then I don't want that. You're doing that for me, but I don't want that,
Right.
And so that was like a really good learning, and we just talked about all of it.
So that's where you have something that is like, this is something she wanted, an espresso machine, but suddenly it's not what she wanted if it wasn't going to work. If she didn't have the freedom to express herself with it.
No, I'm joking.
But the same for me. I wanted,
right.
I also wanted that coffee, but I wanted it in my way. So, I mean, you probably faced that where you got your husband or wife something, or you guys got something together, and suddenly it's like, this is actually not what I wanted because I don't have the feeling, or I'm not able to engage it in my way, my style, and my strength, and so it actually becomes not fun. Then as a spouse, you're like, well, what? I thought that's what you wanted.
We almost returned the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we almost didn't buy it.
We didn't get it out of the box. It came,
right?
And we did not get it out of the box.
We didn't have it completely figured out when we ordered it. So then we were like,
not.
hey, we need to talk. We need to figure this out so we can both enjoy it in the way we have, the way we want. And that's what leads us right into the whole marriage. Does marriage have to be hard? Obviously, that was a conversation we had to have and figure things out, which is like a lot of other things where we recognize strengths and pull on strengths. We have a few minutes before we get too long. So, you asked a question the other day. Does this whole concept, do we always have to be upfront, like marriage is difficult and it takes a lot of work? Does that have to be the foundation for marriage and relationship?
Well, there's a real problem because, in life, the statistics are crazy, Marriage is not popular, it doesn't make it very long, And I think it's just because we try to change each other.
Okay, so let's go.
Change for each other.
So you followed that as we were talking. You're like, well, for you, it doesn't feel like marriage was super difficult. It feels pretty easy. So,
not easy, but good.
Good. Okay.
There's so much good.
There's so much good.
Like
right.
most of it is super good.
So what are some things that we did, or you can point to and say, this is why you've experienced the good, or this is why we feel it's been so good? What would you say?
I think we just never shied away from being who we are, obviously. So, authentic. You are you, I am me. Right.
But I think a lot of people are authentic in themselves, or they have that grind because they're authentic, right? So, do you want? Keep going. What would?
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to say because it's not like I never out of my love for you, I never wanted to change you. You know what I mean? Even though sometimes I got annoyed.
Right.
I never wanted to change you, but I also wanted to stay me.
Yeah.
So.
But okay. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because ultimately I think in the beginning
He doesn't agree, of course.
You intentionally or unintentionally like try to change the other person because you want you want them to think like you think. So I would, for the first few years of marriage, I think we still did that. Now it's been a little while ago that I really started digging into personalities, and you came along for the ride, and then also jumped in and began to realize that there's a gift inside each of us individually that we can own that incredible identity, that it's not wrong or broken, and then secondly that the other person, and begin to embrace it and move away from trying to change.
Right, and that is what I was going to say, actually.
We didn't start that way.
No, we didn't. So that's what I'm saying. So we stayed our own person and always tried to find a middle path,
Right.
Call it compromise, whatever you want to call it. We came together and found something that would work for us. But now, even more than that, I think we celebrate more of and recognize, wow, that really adds to me. You're not just the total opposite of me and it's super annoying. No, you're the total opposite of me, because those things that I don't have, that adds and that becomes one. Yeah, we say those things, but when you experience that and that it really is something that I can now use and pull from and learn from, and it's really an addition. And so we both become like this, and before it was,
she's going like this.
Yeah, I'm going like this, Jason, this. We really become one in that sense.
So disclaimer though, we still don't have it 100%.
No,
right.
but so in all of this, from the beginning, we have been super communicative. Like, we just communicate, and before it would just be in the way I communicate and the way he communicates, and that now I've learned, okay, this is how you receive better, and you learn how I receive better, so we, have a different result.
Right.
Where before it was just like, this is how I see
it. So we went from
whatever.
trying to figure out, why is this person hijacking our marriage or relationship? Mm-hmm. And I know that's a strong term, but when I bring it up with a lot of couples, they're like, that's exactly, I said those words this morning. Like, why? Because your differences in view. One person's like, we have more checks, so we have more money. The more checks we have, the more money. Of course, checks are just pieces of paper. That doesn't equal money. But it's a strength of a style of the advancer, that they're motivational, they're optimistic.
Yeah, optimistic.
See great potential.
Seeing the big picture.
Versus a very analytical, see the potential problems, detail type thing. Yeah. And so you find that, that difference, and people are like, well, why are you hijacking? So we went from that, bumping heads, you're different, I'm different, to identifying each other. Okay, this is who you are. But then we went from just saying, okay, that's great, this is your style, this is my style, but we try as much as we can to communicate in the other person's style and recognize why the other person is talking one way.
Yeah. Trust me, that often doesn't happen. It goes, I communicate in my style and I come really strong, but I recognize it so fast that I'm like an hour later, whatever, oh, sorry, babe, I actually really should not have. But
that's why I think the biggest thing
communicated it like that.
Is the easiest thing, or the best step for us, was recognize why the other person is communicating the other way, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard in the moment to shift and think, well, how should I communicate to them, because I'm communicating in my style. Right. But I recognize why you were saying what you were saying, and you recognize why I'm saying what I'm saying, and it's not a personal attack, it's not a whatever, but it's just you being you. Then I can embrace and find the truth in what you're saying, or find how you're feeling in that, and try to speak back in your language.
Yeah. And I think that is a big thing for me, was a big thing of like, I don't have to take offense to a whole lot of things, where before I would take more of an offense, or it would really bother me because I would always put it towards me, and that there's something I, did wrong or didn't understand, whatever. Where now it's like, I understand more, and there's so much more to learn, but I understand more of who you are and why you think the way you think, why you do the things that you do, and what your motivation is behind it. And that's like, that is a beautiful thing, because then I'm like, oh my word, I can see straight through everything to what your heart is.
Right.
And that's when I still communicate in my own way. I mean, that's easy to say sorry in that way. So in that way, my marriage has been so good, because it's not like, I don't really care that I need to say sorry. Where before it was like, oh, I felt like I did nothing, but yet I felt like it was my fault. And so then I'm like hung up, and I'm not going to say sorry.
That brings a good point, because it's like, I'm just being me, and this is how I see it. And so why should I be wrong? But then recognizing it's like, hey, it's not the fact that I'm wrong. It's the fact that you are communicating differently than me. And so I apologize for devaluing or coming too strong or pushing past who you are just to defend who I am. Yeah. And let me find that middle ground. And then going beyond that, working at positioning each other for success in light of our personality style, and saying, okay, this is how you see things. This is a strength to our marriage, to our family. Yeah. So Esther, what do you think about this situation, or what do you see? How can I utilize your skill set? And so I think it goes beyond just communicating in a way, but allowing that person, we all have a desire to contribute and be valuable, not just in what we do. And so saying, hey, this is your style. How can we have more fun? How can we have some experiences? How can we, whatever, or, where do I need to bring in the details, and kind of positioning each other, even in responsibilities as much as possible, or, what we're going to do as a family or together as a couple. So anyway, I think we'll wrap it up here for today. So that's our story.
Way to go.
The espresso
That's
machine.
all from one thing of a coffee machine that can do in your relationship. Actually, when we had that difficult conversation and we worked things out, I'm like, oh my word, one day we are going to talk about this, because that was a good learning curve, and it added so much.
And that still came in the middle of like already a foundation of years of understanding each other.
This was like last year.
So it was still like a discussion we had to have.
Last year.
Hey, how can we value each other more in order to have these better experiences? And so anyway, I think at some point we may talk more about different things, other things we do in marriage that have made it so good, even in the middle of challenges, disagreements, whatever, all that good stuff.
Processes where you're different.
Continuing to move from the viewpoint of marriage is hard, and there's negative all around it, to hey, this is actually can be really good, even in the middle of circumstance. Because life, even for us, we have challenging situations. We have 4 kids. We have busy things going on.
When we talk about parenting, I would say, now that's hard. But even so, I need to find I find good in that. Super, a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Anyway.
But that's
thank you for joining us. I hope
but
you
let
have
us know. Let us know if
day.
This helped you in any way. If you have questions, or you're like, I recognize that in my relationship, but then how can I, practically do something, whatever. Yeah. Let us know.
And so just on a teacher practical note, which is my side, identify, the people in your relationships, whether your spouse or your kids or whoever, identify. See why they're communicating the way they are, help them build self-confidence in that, allow them to own who they are, and you own who you are, and then begin to position each other to utilize the strength and really optimize the potential they're bringing to the relationships, whether it's a friend,
yeah,
kids,
any
or your
relationship.
spouse.
Yeah.
Definitely do those things. So,
Yeah.
Coffee and Convo,
Yes.
we are out.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Happy Friday.
Mine's finished.
See you. Yeah.
Enjoy,
for
guys.
sure.
Appreciate you.